day all over.
Many people are looking to get a fresh start in the new year by clearing out the clutter. But if your office looks like this, decluttering expert Rebecca Ross may be able to help. She's helped many people turn their homes that look, maybe something like this to, yes, this, the after. The before and after photos come from an episode of Hoarders on TLC, where she's lent her expertise to help families reclaim their homes and lives. Rebecca's here with some tips we can all put to good use, even if we're not hoarding, but we've got a bunch of junk. And lots of people do, I think, just out of lack of time, lack of organization, and one thing leads to another, and your garage is mayhem. Or maybe I'm just telling about myself.
It's happening everywhere, and I think there are some initial issues that come up for everybody across the board that are kind of hard to face. And the first one is being overwhelmed.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the steps in conquering our clutter, and we have a list that you say we should just go through. So let's talk about them. Defining your scope.
These are what I start with a client when I sit down and I say, before you can start picking things up and putting it away, you need to take some time and ask yourself, what's the scope of this project? Am I going to be able to do my garage in an hour? I don't think so. You might be able to clear the floor. You might be able to do just part of the kitchen counter. You might be able to do one drawer. But what is the scope? Having that defined is really, really helpful.
All right. Time and energy assessment, tools at hand, check resistance, and then go. What do these things mean?
Checking your time and energy means, am I about to do something for which I'm just too tired, too crabby, too hungry? Just stop now.
Yes, I am.
Wait till the next day.
Okay.
So that's energy.
You have to kind of be in the mood for it.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, no one's really ever in the mood to do this, but you might be able to say, I'm going to be distracted by the phone ringing. Have I set aside 15 minutes where I can actually stop and get the stuff out of the drawer? So knowing you have the time and the energy for the scope you've defined is really important.
Tools?
Tools would be the classic. Do you have a garbage can nearby? Are you going to stop and run all over the house looking for a box to put the donatables in? Start with having those tools right nearby.
Exactly.
Garbage sacks, boxes for donations, recycle bin, that kind of thing.
Good thought, because if you pick it up, you have to put it somewhere.
Exactly.
Check any resistance. What does that mean?
Well, those are things I call attitude problems, where you might be saying, this is boring, I shouldn't really have to do this anyway, right? That's a problem. Another one is perfectionism. I'm not going to do my filing unless I have 5 tab folders that are purple, and the moon has to be in Virgo.
Right.
It's not going to happen then.
Oh, really? That's not the right approach?
Actually, Virgo is good. But it can be a definite way to just procrastinate.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm very, very good at that. I'm
even
putting off my procrastination. So I understand. All right. So let's talk about 4 steps that will help us move on. And let's put those up, and there we go. So we sort things into categories. What kind of categories?
Well, let's just take an example of your pantry, for example. That's one of the areas people that get totally out of control. If you reach in the pantry and pick up the box of cereal and try to decide where to put it, you'll probably turn around and set it on the counter and walk away for a cup of coffee. If you start by sorting things into categories on a surface, you can then find out, this is how much cereal I have. This is how much pasta I keep. When you have things in categories, then you can move to the second step of purging each category and say, you know what, I hate that soup, I'm never going to eat it anyway, let's donate it. So
or if it's expired, let's get rid of it.
Exactly.
It really, because 15-year-old soup does not need to be in your pantry.
A true thing.
It's a true thing. Okay, contain, where does it go?
Well, so you see, this is step 3. What most people do is they go out to Storables and buy nice little boxes and containers and things, which don't fit, are too big, or too small. If you sort first, figure out how much you've got, purge it so that you now have what you're actually going to use, then you go get the little boxes and the containers.
Because you know what kind of boxes and containers you need.
And the size you probably want, and you measure your shelves and you measure your space, and then you can go get a nice little plastic bin to tuck all of your oatmeal packets into.
That is a very good idea. And then maintain. This is where some of us just really fall behind.
Well, I try to talk about the maintain step instead of oh, you bad thing, you left your cereal on the floor again. The maintain step is your opportunity to look in the pantry and go, the cereal doesn't work on the bottom because the kids come in and eat it all day. So the cereal is going to go up here. Maintain is where you look at what you've done and decide if it really is still working for you.
So you can tweak it a little bit and make sure that you have
Yeah.
a good system. All right, let's talk about some of these props, because most of us have these things, but what I found is that I just stuff everything into it, and then that's no more help than when it was sitting on my desk. So how do we properly use these tools?
These are examples of a system that I help people set up for processing paper as it comes in. What normally happens is the stuff mounts up on the kitchen table or the counter. Someone comes for coffee, so it gets scooped into a bag and stuck in the carport. Bad idea.
You've been to my house, apparently.
I've seen it all. So shoving things into a container.
Everything goes into our laundry room when guests come, and then you have to go back and get it out. So yes, absolutely, having a system would help. But what do we do with this stuff?
So for example, if your mail comes in and you're standing there with a bunch of stuff, you want to have a place for it to land. I tell people that once they get their mail opened, which should be done every day, I'm sorry.
Who opens their mail every day?
Good job.
We've got some good organized people here.
This I use for an action tray. This is where I put the paper that reflects something I know I have to do or decide. So it's not for unopened mail. It's not for the light bulb that you have to go replace. It's paper that has to get acted on.
Okay, all right, that's our first point. We're going to put the rest of this on the web so everybody can learn about this, all right? Because I want you to know. Thank you so much. You can find out more about Rebecca and her business, The Compose Domain, on our website. And I've posted an article on my Facebook page about 10 things you should throw out right now. I thought it was useful. It's Margaret. Take a look. We'll be right back. Come back and see us again.